Are the Pelicans legit, bro? Shout out to Hoop Venue for the video. One of my favorite creators right now. The Western Conference have a sleeping giant.
The Pelicans have won 15 of their last 20 games on the season, now playing at a 50-win pace and just one win behind the Clippers for home court advantage. Yet, it sort of feels like nobody's taking them seriously or even talking about it at all. When healthy, they've been one of the best two-way teams in basketball and pose some really interesting playoff threats for the entire Western Conference. Their roster consists of one of the most physically imposing downhill threats in NBA history with Zion Williamson, so naturally their offense is built on creating as much space for him as possible. That could mean using the 5 as a sort of offensive lineman. Watch Larry Nance here. As Zion starts his attack, he does his best impression of a left tackle to clear the lane, which leads to easy points. Because Zion's so explosive, he's also a threat to reject these screens, and with just one big to beat in drop coverage, he has no trouble getting to the rim for 2. Another thing—
what if they just start blitzing Zion? That'd be crazy, right? Blitzing point Zion, make him a passer, and that should work. It would be crazy.
And you'll see them do quite a bit is actually use their guards or wings to set these screens, with that big hanging around the dunker spot. Again, with one man to beat, Zion easily gets to a layup. Here it is again. Alvarado comes to set the screen. He rejects it on a drive. That big has to meet him early to take away the momentum, so he drops it off to Valanciunas for an easy bucket. More often than not, Zion's going to draw 2 to the ball right as he starts his attack. So instead of setting a screen, you'll see that wing ghosted into open space as he turns and fires a wide open 3.
Bro, this is so unfortunate. And someone tweeted about it, man. Zion really lost all of his hype, bro. And to me, that's so fucking unfortunate, bro. Cause it seemed so long ago, and it was, bro. Cause it was half a decade ago when he was drafted. It doesn't feel like that, but that's the reality. The hype y'all are seeing from Wemby right now is very, very high. But even when Wemby was coming into the draft, I've said it multiple times on this channel. I've said it on Souls and Sage. I would still argue that Zion had more hype going into his draft, bro. That's how much hype he had, bro. That's how box office Zion was. And for Zion to be having the healthiest season of his career on a winning team, still arguably their most effective player, and not getting attention is crazy to me. People are just giving up on this dude. Even though he's 23, 23, about to be 24, on a team with, what is this? 26-year-old Brandon Ingram, 25-year-old Herb Jones, 23-year-old Troy Murphy, Dyson Daniels is on the come up. You know what I'm saying? Got some other Jordan Hawkins, Najee Marshall, Jose Alvarado's 25. I mean, they do have some crucial pieces that are 30 years old. CJ McCollum, Jonas Valanciunas, Larry Nance, but I still think they could be serviceable players for the next 3 to 4 years. That's just crazy to me. I understand why. When you barely see this man play over the last 4 to 5 years. And these heights that we were talking about, he has just failed to reach. And even his picture perfect brand, because going into the league, y'all need to remember, like, Zion was squeaky clean, bro. Zion was squeaky clean, built as a motherfucker, had the tenacity, the enthusiasm to be a superstar, but the Mariah Mill shit did do some damage to Zion's brand, bro. I'll say that.
Something else the Pelicans like to do to clear out space is set him up for isolations on an open side of the floor. He's a walking mismatch for quite literally every defender one-on-one, then as soon as that second defender comes, he'll find the open man for some quality offense. Here's another example. As he sets up his attack, he draws a double and immediately finds an open cutter. And what they'll do to keep up that spacing is stick their 5 on the baseline, so in the event that Zion attacks, draws late help, and tries to shoot through it, that big, or they'll put a high-level shooter like Brandon Ingram just one pass away on the wing, so if a double comes early, all he has to do is make the right read to create a great look from outside. Speaking of Ingram, they'll run offense through him in virtually the exact same way that they do Zion. You've got those middle isolations where if given space, he's attacking the cup. but I'd say the big difference with Ingram in place of Zion is that spacing is more of a luxury than a necessity. Like here, you can see a second defender load up at the nail with a shot blocker sitting under the basket, so he spins into a jumper. He's one of the best mid-range shooters in the league with an uncontestable release point. So even if the defense loads up in a wall-like formation, he's a constant threat to create shots over the top. In addition to that, I'd make the argument that he might just be the most underrated passer in the NBA, meaning that if he attacks and draws that added attention, he'll consistently find his teammates for a high percentage offense. With the middle of the floor isolations, he's got the open side game. A double comes from the middle, so he turns baseline for a fadeaway. And here's another example. He turns baseline for that same jumper, only it's an up fake before stepping through for a lay. Whenever he initiates from out on the perimeter, he can operate like a more modernized guard. Here, it's a give-and-go handoff, and when the opposing big sits back and drop coverage, that's an easy pull-up jumper. Just like with Zion, sometimes it's a guard or a wing setting these high ball screens. On this one, he draws two and hits Herb, who uses that 4-on-3 advantage in the short roll to drop it off to who else but Zion.
Big Z.
And this time it's Trey Murphy, who's going to ghost the screen for an opening up top. Then after drawing a closeout, he attacks on a drive, getting all the way to the rim for two. This right here is the key. Outside of the bigs, this roster is loaded with perimeter talent. By every measure, Trey Murphy is one of the best off-ball shooters in the NBA. Range, volume, versatility, the guy's an absolute flamethrower. There's also CJ McCollum, a career
I'll tell y'all why people don't trust this team. Number one is just a lack of experience in the playoffs. So I understand they've been to the playoffs before, but very, very similar concerns to the OKC Thunder. A relatively young squad that hasn't really made any deep playoff runs, like serious deep playoff runs, and I just don't think they have. Let me double check, but I would, even if they did, it was without their best player. So this core that they got, it just hasn't been proven. Also. Let's see, 2023, I believe they were in the playoffs, were they not? I guess they weren't. I swear to God they were. It might have been 22, the season I'm thinking of. 22, Pelicans. Okay, this was a 6-game series versus the Suns. That was pretty heated. 21, they didn't make it to the playoffs. This is Zion's rookie season right here, and they definitely didn't make it to the playoffs. So, yeah, they've only made it to the playoffs one time, and it was a first-round out to the New Orleans, to the Phoenix Suns. Zion wasn't there. Just effectively speaking, this core that relies so much on Zion just hasn't played much together. And when it comes to being a contender, I'm sorry. It is what it is. People will not really trust you unless you got that tier 1 player playing at a tier 1 level player. Like the line is literally Jason Tatum, right? Like if you think he's a tier 1 player or not, that determines what you feel about the Boston Celtics. But even they're like an outlier because of the boatload of talent that they have. But OKC got one of them ones. Denver got one of them ones. The reason why the Clippers, people have more faith in the Clippers than Minnesota is because of Kawhi. Hell, even Dallas. Dallas got Luka. Phoenix got KD. You know what I'm saying? Lakers got Bron/AD. Golden State has Steph Curry. And this is already kind of stretching it. But the teams that people don't really have faith in and being championship contenders for real, that's like the common denominator. Is, do you really have that guy for real? And you have to debate who that guy even is for the Pelicans between Brandon and Zion. And even then, depending on who you decide, I still don't think either of them are on that level. Maybe just yet, but they just aren't. You know what I'm saying? Making strides in the right direction. But that's why people don't trust this team. Do they have a bright future? The thing that frustrates me about the Pelicans is they've been had a solid team for the last couple of years. Like Literally, their future just relies on Zion. That's it. That's it. If Zion clicks, the expectations and the ceiling of this team are completely different. And as we're seeing, he is capable of reaching those ceilings again. He is. He just is. He just is. So this is not a if Ben Simmons get a jump shot type of shit. We're seeing it right now. In the last 15 games, 24, 6, and 7. 59% from the field. Going to the line 6 times, 75%. This is what Zion is capable of right now for a 15-game stretch. That's a very big stretch of games. In 32 minutes. If Zion comes back next season, more fit and better conditioning, and this is 27, this can even stay at 5.6, 5 to 6. This goes up to 8, and this stays the same. I don't think this is gonna change. If Zion next year can be a 27, 8 and 6 guy on damn near 60% from the field, and I would hope with better conditioning he becomes a more effective defender, like he showed earlier in his career. I'm telling you right now, I'm back on the Zion train. I am back on the Zion train. I'm back, bruh. I'm rebuying my stock. And I think per 32 minutes, per 36 minutes as well. I know motherfuckers don't like to use that stat. So 24.3 divided by 32.2. He's shooting 0.754 points per minute. Multiply that by 36. I believe this is already, the production he's scoring right now is at a rate of 27 points per 36 minutes. So maybe it's just even a whatchamacallit, a minutes restriction thing. But hey, man.
40% guy from 3 who's not afraid to let that thing fly 7 or 8 times a game. And outside shooting was viewed as maybe Herb Jones's biggest weakness as a player. Well, he's shooting 43% on the season, and even better 47% from the corners. So certainly not a guy the defense wants to be leaving open consistently. I wouldn't necessarily call Alvarado a high-level shooter, but he'll knock him down when given the opportunity, leaving only 2 weak outside shooters in Dyson Daniels and Najee Marshall. But if they really want to lean into the shooting, those two can be replaced with Jordan Hawkins or Matt Ryan, both of which are incredibly effective movement shooters. And with all of this shooting talent, they can run set action for these guys. Watch CJ McCollum here. They set up the defense with some decoy ball screens, then he sprints baseline off a couple pin downs, which leaves him with space on the wing to catch and shoot. Here's a really cool play that starts with what looks like Hawkins setting a ball screen for Ingram, only to ghost it while Nance stays up top to set a flare, and that leaves Hawkins with room to attack off the catch as he gets to a floater. That's actually one of their go-to actions. Here it is again with Zion initiating, and again it leads to a driving lane, this time drawing help and leaving it for the rolling Nance. Even more important than the shooting is the fact that every single one of these players is capable of playing off the catch and making decisions with the ball. And I don't just mean playing off of advantages. All it takes is a closeout for CJ to burn Miles Turner off the catch and get to a floater. Here's another.
Man, shout out to CJ too. Very, very underrated player of our generation. CJ's been good for a very long time, y'all. CJ has been look at this, bruh. He's been a 21 point per game scorer since 2016 at 24 years old. One most improved. And he's effectively been that for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years now. It doesn't really seem like he's slowing down for real. I mean, volume has gone down. But that also has to do with the role that he's in. Yeah, CJ been a bucket, bro. And when we talk about bags, CJ got a bag, bro. But yeah, being a 41% shooter at 8 threes a game is very underrated to me. And he's giving you 4 assists, and he's giving you 4 rebounds. Defensively, he's never been a stalwart there, but shout out CJ, man.
Another example, The defense is perfectly set, and by simply moving into open space and quickly attacking, CJ draws some help at the nail, which leaves Trey Murphy with room up top as he catches and fires from deep. This time it's just a slight load up at the nail as Zion sets up the offense, and by kicking it to Murphy, it creates a long closeout that he attacks. Then when help comes to him, he's moving it to Ingram for the exact same thing, and they end the possession with a wide open dunk. Having so many capable attackers and
you know what's crazy? I can't even say they lack playmaking. When again, CJ is giving you 4 assists a game. He can handle the rock, make plays off the dribble. Zion's playmaking to me has been underrated. And like HV just said, Brandon Ingram has been one of the best passing wings for a minute now. Yeah, he's giving you he's been giving folks a solid 6 assists for the last 3 years. I understand it's not that solid 6, but when your average is 6, it means you're either hovering around 6, you're capable of getting 8, you're capable of getting 4 some nights, but nah. And just, I know assist is a flawed stat too, but he's just always been a capable passer to me. So
decision makers brings a ton of variety to the offense. Like here, CJ could hand it off to Ingram, but by rejecting it and creating himself, he ends up with a great look from the elbow. CJ can also run pick and roll, and when he kicks it out to Herb, that's a guy who can attack off the catch himself as he gets to the rim for a lay. And then because Herb's got those skills, they can even run some action through him. This time it's a dribble handoff from Zion and a sharp pocket pass leads
Herb becoming
to
an
easy
offensive
points.
threat was not
when
on
you
my
look at the
playbook.
Pelicans' offense in its entirety, it really comes down to 2 key traits. First is that they have 2 very good on-ball scorers who can isolate, run pick and roll, and will make the right plays to create openings for teammates.
Arguably 3.
Second is how those teammates capitalize, whether it's through outside shooting, quick attacks off the catch, extra passes, you get the idea. I also think there's a pretty interesting wrinkle to consider that I didn't really touch on, with Jonas Valanciunas being one of the better low post scorers in the NBA. So in certain matchups who are maybe undersized or struggle to defend the interior, he's another guy they can go to for consistent production with enough passing talent to find the open man himself. Overall, the Pelicans have had the 8th best offense in the NBA, scoring about 118 points every 100 possessions, and that's held up against top 10 defenses as well, ranking 10th in those tougher matchups. I think their offense translates pretty well to the playoffs, although I do think it'll be interesting to see how opponents scheme those role players, meaning they respect guys like Herb or Alvarado enough to close out, and what that means for Zion as a slasher. One thing that bodes well is how comfortable they are throwing out weird lineups with the versatility to sort of counter any approach. For more shooting, they can replace Zion with Murphy. For more speed and above the rim finishing, they can replace Jonas with Nance. And these big, lengthy wings make sacrificing size possible. Which is sort of a perfect transition to the other side of the ball, because defense has actually been the driving force behind their success this season. Most strong defenses are built around a high-level rim protector, but they don't have a single one of those on the roster. Actually, their defensive approach reminds me a lot of the Miami Heat in that the goal is to not let the ball touch the paint.
Look how athletic their wing defenders are, bro. Oh my God.
That starts at the point of...
You got Trey Murphy, you got Herb Jones. Hell, Zion's... That's what... Bro, I'm telling you, bro. Just even hearing HV talk about it, man. Zion's the key, bro. Zion, tee the fuck up, bro.
Attack for them, where they might just have the best options of anyone in the league. Of course, their go-to is Herb Jones, who really just checks every single box you want in a guy defending on the ball.
Yeah.
As does Dyson Daniels, with the size and strength of a forward, but the agility and hip mobility of a smaller guard to always stay in front of the
there!
Another guy they'll throw out there is Jose Alvarado, who obviously lacks size, but will get up into the airspace of whoever he's guarding and really limit their ability to get where they want to go. With one of these 3 guys always matched up with primary ball handlers, you'll also see them sit one of their wings at the nail to offer immediate help. Here, Powell attacks the middle and Ingram turns him away, then it's just a one-on-one with Daniels. And because they have multiple options, whenever there's screening action between these guys, it's a seamless switch as they always keep someone in front of the ball to limit dribble penetration. For the most part, really, they're comfortable switching with any of their wings. This time it's Marshall who gets screened and Ingram who picks up, once again preventing a drive to instead give up a tougher pull-up 3. And these sorts of plays really speak to their personnel. Because while I know I said they lack a truly elite rim protector, what they don't lack is a huge surplus of lengthy athletic forwards.
I mean, do you really need an elite rim protector though to win a championship? Because I'm looking at the Nuggets last season, they didn't really have an elite rim protector. I wouldn't classify Aaron Gordon as an elite rim protector. Hell, I know they haven't won a championship. Would you classify the Celtics as a team that has an elite rim protector? Is Kristaps Porzingis an elite rim protector? Yo, I don't think so. When the Warriors won in 22, they didn't have one. 21, I'd classify Brook Lopez as one. 2020, that was Bubble AD and them boys. 2019, Marc Gasol. 20, you know, the Warriors teams, I guess KD. I know y'all was pushing that back then. The Cavs didn't really have an elite rim protector.
Just take a look at this play. Even without Herb on the floor, they've got a lengthy athletic forward covering each major option. Daniels on the ball, Ingram on Kawhi on the
They got a lot
side,
of length though.
And when it's entered to George in the mid-post, it's Trey Murphy and his 7-foot wingspan. Having so many of these guys on the floor is what allows them to cover for smaller or weaker
Look how much
links.
space their defenders
CJ
are covering,
is
bro.
obviously a mismatch in the post, so Herb doubles from one pass away, while Ingram and Murphy both shift over a position, and the result is a turnover. It also allows them to mitigate any advantages that the offense is able to create. This time it's a pick and roll that forces Valanciunas to the ball, and watch Ingram as he not only tags the roll, but also reaches into that corner skip pass for a steal. Here's another example. Alvarado gets hit by a screen, forcing Nance to step in front of a drive, and when the ball handler thinks there's a lob, here comes Ingram to send it away. Just like I said, they always have someone to put in front of the ball at the point of attack. So much size and length also means they always have someone to step in front of bigs. Like on this one, Valanciunas jumps out to the ball, creating a 4-on-3, but Ingram comes over from the weak side to take away AD's role. Those early tags from the weak side are a staple in their scheme. This play starts with a ball screen, but Kispert does a good job of slipping the switch, only to turn right into Herb for a charge. They're comfortable throwing aggressive coverages at the pick and roll, not because Valanciunas is some switchable, mobile big, but because as soon as AD catches the ball, Zion's already there to take away the space. And it all comes back to that emphasis on not letting the ball get close to the basket. Valanciunas takes away any potential drive, then Zion rotates to force Bagley into a tougher push shot. The best way to counter this sort of aggressive defense is to have a ball handler capable of making the skip pass to the opposite corner. And that's when you'll see the defense X out to near perfection, with Herb flying to the corner as Murphy covers the now open wing. The luxury of having so many capable defensive forwards. Here it is again. Valanciunas steps in front of the ball, Zion comes over way early to pick up the short roll, and with Herb rotating down to the corner,
Zion rotates to the shooter.
Is a DeMar DeRozan 3. Not exactly ideal. The way they so aggressively rotate behind the play, when paired with so many lengthy, athletic forwards and more than capable options at the point of attack, has turned them into a turnover-forcing machine. They're second in the NBA this season at over 8 steals a game, and those come in all different forms. From reaches at the nail, to taking away a weak side lob, to Grand Theft Alvarado sneaking from behind. And in the event that Alvarado tries to make a play on the ball but is unsuccessful, then it's right back to that aggressive help. Not just from Nance, but also Zion.
Double layer help defense? Come on!
Remember, I talked about lineup versatility and how they can structure their units to cover for any sort of strategy that the opponents throw out there. That point is really hammered home when you consider their options at the 5. I know Valanciunas isn't a great rim protector, but he's one of the biggest players in the NBA. So just by proxy of having him on the court, you have a more traditional anchor look. And when the lineup calls for more versatility, whether that means switching or some aggressive coverages, they can go to Larry Nance with a more small ball type of look. What I find most fascinating though, is when they go with no big. these ultra small lineups where you could call anyone the 5, and it's made possible by the vast amount of lengthy athletic forwards.
I think another thing with this team though is, and let me check how the standings are looking right now, is the reason why, on top of everything that I mentioned earlier. Okay, so they're facing the Clippers right now. Even if they overachieve like shit, right, and make it all the way to the Western Conference Finals, I'm telling you, he's becoming one of them ones. Once they face the Nuggets, and HV is already calling out, you know what I'm saying, their weakness or a way to counter their crazy aggressive help defense. And Jokic is a dude that can throw them skip passes. And they got the shooters. They're cooked. Same thing with Luka. Not saying you're cooked, but same thing with Luka. You know, luckily I think with the way, the Clippers got James Harden. Never mind. So it's just I need to see more from this team, bro. I just haven't seen enough. That's it.
On the season, they've got a 113 defensive rating, 6th in the NBA, which is really strong. However, I think they've turned it up to another level in this recent stretch, which is why over their last 20 games, that number is down to 109.5, good for 3rd. Just like on...
When people call that out, is that relative to the last 20 games too? Like within this 20-game sample size, they're the 3rd defense compared to everyone else's 20-game sample size? Or is that... if you just plop this defensive rating into the league-wide defensive rating standings, is that what that stat means? I think people should clarify what that means to me. Maybe it's just some common sense shit that I just don't know, but let me know in the comment section down below if I'm just... BSOLZ, you don't know ball for real.
Offense that's more than held up against the toughest competition, holding top 10 offenses to a 113 offensive rating, which ranks 4th. I do think it'll be interesting to see how some of what they do translates to the playoffs. Like against a Luka or Jokic type of passer, those aggressive rotations behind the play can be punished pretty consistently. But when you put them against teams who run their offense through guys who lean a lot more heavily into scoring, like OKC or Minnesota, I think they cause some serious matchup issues. Especially when considering the fact that Herb was basically built in a lab to defend these stars. All that's to say, the statistical indicators bode extremely well for this team. A net rating of +5 ranks 4th behind just the Celtics, Thunder, and Timberwolves, who you could argue have been the 3 best regular season teams. And against top 10 opponents, they've had a net rating of +2.3, also 4th behind those exact same teams. I really think it comes down to health. Dyson Daniels just returned to practice, so if he's good to go, that's a huge defensive piece. Then guys like Ingram, Zion, and Alvarado have all struggled in previous years. But if they head into the playoffs with a fully healthy squad and find a way to snag home court advantage in round 1 by then, this is a scary team that truly should be getting more hype as a potential dark horse contender. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn...
I think, shout out to HV for the video. I think they're a dark horse to make it to the Western Conference Finals. I'll say that. Just looking at the seeding right now, I was thinking about the whole skip pass thing too. I didn't think SGA, and I still don't think SGA is a dude that can really take advantage of that for real, compared to a James Harden type of playmaker, compared to a Luka, compared to a Jokic. Unless you think, I don't know, J-Dub and Josh Giddey are dudes that can really dot like that, but I don't think they are. But I think they are a threat to make it to the Western Conference Finals. 4 or 5 matchup is a 4 or 5 matchup for a reason. The Clippers and the Pelicans have also played very competitive games this season. And then whoever they face in the second round, hey, listen, Lakers fans already want the Thunder in the first round. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? But even if they do face the Thunder also have experienced problems of themselves. And I would argue in this experience... this experienced mid-off, I guess, I would even lean towards the Pelicans on that front. They're a dark horse to make it to the Western Conference Finals. I'll say that. So they're a dark horse on that front. And moving forward, like I said, the Western Conference Finals is about to be a dogfight next year, bro. Because OKC's still going to be there. Denver's still going to be there. Minnesota, in my opinion, is still going to be there. The Clippers, I still think they're going to be there. Maybe they're a team that dips off. I don't know. The Pelicans, well, I'll talk about them in a second. The Mavs are going to be there. The Suns, they may break it up. I don't know what the Suns are doing. Sacramento, in my opinion, is going to be there. LA, Golden State, maybe Golden State blows it up. I think LA is still going to be there with LeBron still being there and AD still being there. The Grizzlies are about to get job back. The Spurs, they're poised to make some big moves in the offseason. The Rockets are headed in the right direction and can low-key still be a play-in team. They're still not fully out of the race. The Western Conference is about to be a dogfight, bro. and the Pelicans really reinstating themselves as being a solid one of the a team to take seriously in the Western Conference, with their core still being a bunch of 25, 26-year-olds and younger. I think has gone under our radar. I think this is another example of people giving up on teams and stars too soon. And then when you look up, oh shit, they're still 25, 26, but this motherfucker's been in the league for 5 years now. I think time perception is fucked for a lot of people. Is TikTok to blame? I don't know. I don't really care. Damn, the Raptors have lost 8 games in a row. What's going on with Toronto? With that being said, hey, the Rockets have won seven straight. It's crazy. Shout out to HV again for the video. Zion, tee up. And I'll catch you on the next one, man. Peace.